It's funny, in this course world, I like the idea that you can't get it wrong and you'll never get it done. Your course is never done. I'm like, I need a miracle. Like, what is out there? Because I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a lot of student loan debt. I need to figure this out. And just through the magic of the internet, I discovered the online course world. I ended up changing from my initial idea of doing a $50 workshop to a live training program that costs over $1,000.
And here we go. Hey creators, it's your hosts, Natalie and Yasmin, and you're listening to the Course Creation Podcast. We'll talk business, building digital empires, and how to create passive income to start living a life you love. We are here to empower those of you who are thinking of starting your own course and to support those who are already well on their way to success. We've built a 7-figure media agency on unique storytelling, and now we're here to share our story in the course creation world, and more importantly, to hear yours. We are committed to creating a space for learning and a space for diversity and inclusion. Now let's get the show started. 3, 2, 1, action. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode. We have a great show ahead of us. Today, we have our lovely friend and guest, Gwen Elliot. Gwen is an online course producer and has been in the e-learning space since 2012. She has co-created more than 50 courses, reaching over 450,000 people. She currently works at Shopify and runs a small business helping authors and experts create online courses and workshops. An entrepreneur at heart, Gwen has been featured in media outlets for different projects, including Forbes Entrepreneur, Cosmopolitan, and Flair, to name a few. She's obsessed with online education, as we are, and we can't wait to start this conversation with her. Gwen, thank you so much for joining us.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This is like a throwback moment, but also so exciting to see how our journeys have evolved and are coming together today. It's just so cool. I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing. Yeah, let's share with our audience our journeys, because they don't know, but we all went to university together, a program called Radio and Television Arts. I think we all went into that program thinking we were going to become reporters or something like that. And here we are now, like you said, crossing paths in the e-learning space. Yeah, so it's really exciting to have you because, like we said before we started recording, we've been following your journey for years now, and I love all the info you're putting out there because it really inspires me. But for those in our audience who don't know who you are and want to know a little bit more than the beautiful intro that Yasmin gave us, give us your version of your story.
Yes, so I'm an online course producer and a learning designer. And right now I help best-selling authors and experts turn their expertise into profitable online courses. And I think what makes me different, because there's so many people right now that are coming out of the woodworks as course creators and experts, and there are some that really are, but I think what makes me different is the number of courses I've made, the number of experts I've worked with. It's actually probably closer to 60. Like, it's happening so fast. It's unbelievable. And also my kind of knowledge in the marketing aspect, the learning management system, the product itself, the production. Most people are good at certain things. And I feel like based on my, our education in radio and television production, my interest in online marketing, my nerdiness on what is the right learning management system for you, like I just can put it all together for people in a way that's really clicking and making people successful in this space. So happy to share all the tips today on course things.
Love it. Love it. Can you also share some of the successes? Because I was going through on your website, like some of your case studies, and I was like blown away by the success of the course creators that you work with. Can you share some of those successes with us?
Yes. I mean, a couple of like highlight reel moments, I guess, is one course I made about angel investing. That company actually got acquired. And part of the reason was the education, the community that was built. There's somebody you may have had on your show. I was kind of like a secret behind the scenes person, helping her with her, exciting 6-figure course launch. But let's face it, this person is a genius at marketing. So, and just like lately, I've been seeing local legends win. Somebody I've been working with, she had a dream to sell out 20 spaces in her course, but she was selling it at the 4-figure price point, and she sold it out in 18 hours. Wow. And it's like, whoa, okay. That's some good money. And it's not, she's somebody that I really try to attract those credible experts. So this kind of success is possible. What else? Man, I mean, truthfully, the way I measure my success is by the testimonials that come from courses I've created. I need to put this together, just a page of like success testimonials, but that to me is more exciting than like 6-figure course launch or hopefully 7-figure course launch in the future. So people are just winning everywhere in this space.
Absolutely. That's really cool. So Gwen, you have a really awesome story before we dive into some of the nitty gritty stuff, but you created your first online course, or actually ebook in 2012. And that's what gave you a little bit of a taste as to what the possibilities are in this realm. If you can just take it back, because a lot of our listeners are still very, very fresh and new, and they're green. And maybe they just need that one little push to get them over the edge and to see the possibilities. So share with us your experience.
Yes. So working in the television production world, as you both probably experienced, which is why you started your own company, it's a hustle. You're jumping from contract to contract. There's no real job security. You don't really have control. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you can, this is kind of like you have to have relationships. Anyway, I started to get freaked out is the bottom line. I was like, how am I supposed to build a career in this industry? And so I started to look somewhere else. I'm like, I need a miracle. Like, what is out there? Because I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a lot of student loan debt. I need to figure this out. And just through the magic of the internet, I discovered the online course world. I came across this guy named David Siteman Garland, who had a local cable TV show that he turned into an online course. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Just somebody who really went from like TV to courses. And I started to go, signed up for all the email lists, started to learn about ebooks and workshops and courses. And I made an ebook, and it was called How to Connect with Influential People When You're First Starting Out, and sold not many. It was beautiful. I was very proud of myself. Hired a designer. It was like just great templates for reaching out to people. But yeah, I didn't really sell much. Like basically my whole history is like things that did not work, and just kind of learning from there to now the point where I've made so many mistakes that it's exciting to see things truly working. So yeah, just try, like as I recommend you watch Sarah Stockdale's interview, experiment. That's kind of the way you get to finding that $1 million, that super successful idea.
I love what you're saying, because I think that a lot of the preconceived notions when you create a course or an online program is that you're going to create something that you have value to give and it's just going to take off, right? But not being attached to, let's say, your first launch or your second launch or your third launch, and iterating and learning and figuring out what's that magic sauce that's you. That's where the magic happens. But a lot of people don't even go there because we're so afraid of rejection,
Yes. And it's okay. It sucks. It sucks when you pour your heart into something and it just doesn't work. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me many times. But every time it doesn't work, you're showing yourself what not to do next time. So it's okay. If you're at that place right now where things are not working, let us find a way forward right now.
Yeah. We can totally relate to that, because we are like, Yasmin and I are doers. We're just going to hit the ground running. We're going to do before we never sort of spend a lot of time in that analysis paralysis stage. We're just like, I'm going to cover that up by taking action, which is good and bad at the same time, because we went out and created a course without testing the market, without understanding where it's going to live, without understanding who our avatar is. We essentially made like an instructional how to video editing course that we're now trying to figure out who our avatar is. And to be quite honest, because we're all about transparency and sharing, it tanked. Like, we sold 3 courses and that's it so far. So now we're sort of going back to, pivoting within our new pivot. So pivoting within our new pivot. And now we're actually trying to understand our customer avatar and what their pain points are and how we can help. And this is all things that we just learned by doing and making mistakes. Yes.
Thank you for being so transparent, because that's part of your origin story, which is, it's so funny. You see like the Amy Porterfields of the world, or Danielle Leslie's, and they always start their stories with like, they sold 10 spots or a couple spots, and now they have multi-million-dollar businesses, and it's great. Own that. That's awesome, because it's not going to stay that way for long. If anyone's been following you for a while, like you know, creating a 7-figure media agency is not easy. I mean, if I was in your shoes, I would be teaching the system to do that and charging a premium price, because that is 10 years of knowledge that you can distill into a course. So I'm excited to see what you do next, to be honest. It's going to be huge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. That's a really good point. I've been noodling that idea in my mind, but I feel like it's also, there's something to be said about obviously focusing and learning and doing things. I think everything that we're doing is going to lead up to something bigger. And I think that's what's so cool about this entire experience when it comes to e-learning, when it comes to immersing yourself in this new world. I mean, there's so many elements, there's so many aspects to really learn. Yes, there is the tech side of things. There's the finding your niche. There's a side of, actually showing up for your audience, understanding who your audience is. There's so many challenges that you have to get over. And that eventually turns into something big. So we again encourage any listeners who are new to this world to not be discouraged with their first or second or third product. And I really want to take it back to your journey. And what area did you find most challenging? Because obviously with like our background, there's a lot of things that we had going into this that were kind of ahead of a lot of people, but there's still a lot of challenges. Like, we're dealing with Facebook ad challenges. We're still dealing with like our target audience challenge side of things. But yeah, tell me about yours.
I mean, the target audience is the thing in my eyes. I feel like if I look back, I wasn't clear on who my target audience would be, because say for you, your target audience is if it is, you're trying to mentor people who are just starting agencies to really build the systems to create it. You want to make sure you find somebody that is making enough money that they'd have the money to invest a premium price in you. And I honestly think part of my challenge was just being like, oh, I'm just going to whip it up and throw it out there and see, who wants to buy it. But now I'm like pretty much obsessed with the ideal target customer, ideal learner. And even when I did a training program recently, I at first, I wanted to do a live training program, a workshop to teach how to create an online course. And I first thought, workshops, people charge like $50 for these, like $100 for these. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll have I'm not going to do paid ads, completely organic, maybe have 25, 50 people join. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, my ideal customer, who in my mind is somebody who, she's a lawyer, she's in her late 30s, early 40s, she has a couple kids. She doesn't want to be just like one of 50 people paying $50. She wants a premium experience. She wants to sit with me. She wants to work out her course idea. And I ended up changing from my initial idea of doing a $50 workshop to a live training program that costs over $1,000. Less than 10 people signed up, but all superstars, like just complete like A+ winners who are serious about this. So yeah, go back to that ideal customer and think about that before you launch into what you're going to build.
Love it. Love it. That's such great advice. Sort of adding on to that, can you share perhaps like a mistake that you made that you really learned from and wouldn't advise somebody to go down that route, or something that you would do differently?
Yes, it would be, don't buy courses on credit cards that you can't afford.
Yes.
So honestly though, literally probably my Achilles heel since graduating university was I did have a lot of debt from school and from my lifestyle. And I always thought, oh, whatever, debt, who cares? I'll just pay it off, minimum payments. Listen, that got me into serious trouble. And it always felt like this thorn in my side of like, there's not enough. So the mistake was I had like a recurring not enough kind of mindset. So of course there was never enough. I'd make money, it would leave. So I spent a year, actually the year I got hired by Shopify, to just go all in on changing my money mindset, my debt problem. I paid off $50,000 in less than a year by completely, making my life. I had no life. I had a couple roommates. I quit drinking. I stopped eating meat to save a little on the food bill, and paid that off. And since then, I've been really able to like have a strong financial foundation to really build something meaningful. So yeah, mistakes is thinking debt is cool to just like be a terrible friend that hangs out with you all the time.
Oh man, I remember having that conversation with you. I came to visit you at Shopify and we were having lunch. They serve really great lunches there, by the way. Really great buffets. But we were sitting and we were having, I think we were both in this sort of financial crisis mode in a sense. Now, we were young, but I really related to that because I was like, I'm in the same shoes as you and I have 3 credit cards that I basically maxed out, and it was just a different lifestyle. And I look back at that person and I'm like, who was that person? Because it's so different now. But that's really, really important. I think there's this notion that we do need to invest in ourselves, and I absolutely believe that we do, but it's also about being smart in how you invest so that it does not cause additional stressors or additional frustrations in your life that's going to hold you back from actually accomplishing the goal that you want to accomplish. So I think that some of the behind the scenes things that a lot of people don't discuss is that you need to have a plan of action. Even simply putting down your priorities on a piece of paper, even from a financial standpoint, and saying, hey, I need a mentor or I need this course to elevate my knowledge in a specific space. Write that down and how it looks like in conjunction with other things in your life. And don't be discouraged if you can't do it necessarily today, but work towards that goal. So some of the behind the scenes stuff that we just don't talk about or we don't see because we're just talking about getting to this beautiful packaged course that we want to all make.
Yes, I was listening to, who was it Lori? Who was one of your recent?
Lori Kennedy. Mm-hmm.
Lori Kennedy. Yes. And how she was saying that, sometimes even if you're making 6 figures as a business owner, you're broke. And I was like, oh, cause yeah, it's fun. Like, honestly, figuring out the money side is such a freeing thing. And if anyone listening is like in serious debt and struggling, my kind of way out was learning from Dave Ramsey's work. He has, I listen to his podcast like crazy. He has an amazing course, books, just get into his world. He has a very simple, like step-by-step process, which I'm learning a lot, even as an online course creator, about the way he does things. Repeating is such an important thing in learning. And it's the same message and it works. So that's a secret, not secret. That's a little tip for anybody who's like, drowning in this debt over here.
There's so many great tips there, how to get out of, debt, but also what you said in regards to repeating as you're learning. That's huge because as course creators, we think we have to continue to give so much value in different avenues. And it's like, if you have a message to share, it's okay to repeat it. If somebody didn't hear it the first time, they might hear it differently the second time.
Absolutely. It's so funny whenever I'm working with someone and they're like, oh, but I already said that. I'm like, that's absolutely okay. Please repeat it. Because there's there's so much pressure that course creators, especially credible, like really amazing course, like really credible people put on themselves to like come up with this new, exciting, like educational experience, and just give me what worked for you and repeat it. And one thing that is a challenge in online learning is feedback. Feedback is one of the ways that we learn, you know, and that's one of the challenges with the courses that are just take the course, go at your own pace. You have questions that come up. How do you get those answered? And pretty much everyone I work with, I'm highly recommended they use blended learning, where there is the live element of training as well as the, you know, the recorded videos and workbook downloads, audio, all that kind of stuff. And it just is such a value add. Ezra Firestone's an amazing course creator. He's also a really successful e-commerce entrepreneur. And he calls it relationship equity with the creator. I think that's very important nowadays. That's kind of the reason I buy courses, is to hang out on Zoom calls with really successful people. So write that down as a tip, everybody. Be available if possible for a live call.
Totally. And we're so into that too. Great, great, great tip. I want to get your thoughts on, so when it comes to course creation, there's like a split belief that we have to provide a lot of value to build that trust factor. At the same time, if you have amazing value to share, there are some course creators out there who say, also make sure that you are not giving away your freebies for free, but you put like a tiny offer behind it. So whether it's just a really, really small ticket price item, sell that instead of giving it away. What is your stand on that?
So I love this. Basically, right now there's the rise of the, you know, $27 course that could be way more than $27 or $47. Basically, people are paying to be on people's email list these days. It's hilarious. I mean, I honestly don't know. I'm just going to be honest. I really don't know if that's working for some people really well from what I've seen. It's something you got to experiment with your audience. The courses I bought at the tiny offer price point, it's funny, most of those courses end up in the course graveyard, AKA I never open them. And I'm actually annoyed that I get emails from the creator, because I'm like, I didn't do that course, and now I'm getting all these emails, and it's just like, but then there are some that are really good, and I'm actually happy to get emails from the creator. So that's definitely something to test with your audience. But I mean, yeah, I forget, who did you have on the show who was talking about tiny offers? I feel like I should re-listen to that one. Yeah. What was her stance?
So obviously she's the tiny offer queen, right? Like she has like she's whole
killing it
around it. She's killing it. Yeah. And she's also like helping a lot of people in that space get out there. And I get, on some level, I get it, because it's going back to a little bit of that money mindset as well, because a lot of the times when you give something for free, they don't attach the value in it to do any action. So like what you just described, where you even spent just $27, but never opened up that course, never looked into it, like that exchange of I'm actually investing into something and I'm going to do it. What amount of money would you spend to actually take action in doing it, right? Versus if you just don't spend any money at all, and then it actually goes to the graveyard. So where I was going with this is, I think there's an attachment of, you know, handing over value in exchange for information. It's the same thing as like you're giving an email for that freebie, but are you actually going to do the work? Will you do the work if you spend a little bit of money, is the question mark, you know?
Yes. I feel like the ones that I took action on were the ones I needed in the moment. Like, I need to learn how to write the sales page. I need to learn, and then say for something like Facebook ads, it's like, I'd like to learn more about Facebook ads, but it's not necessary right now. I mean, I think it's a cool idea, honestly, definitely worth a test. Obviously it's working for people, and it's just, I haven't personally tested it, but something to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also a strategy. You have to have a strategy when you're doing that. It's not just, okay, I have this thing and instead of giving it for free, I'm going to charge X amount of dollars for it. It's got to lead up to more and more and more. There's got to be something attractive to then have your obviously bump offers and all that good stuff. What did I want to
Actually, I have a question.
go?
So can you tell us about your work at Shopify?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I am a course producer at Shopify. My boyfriend always makes fun of me because I'm a course producer at Shopify, and I didn't even know that was a job. Like, I apparently say this all the time, but it's true. When I saw this job posting that they were looking for an online course producer, my jaw dropped. It was like, wow, this is a full-time job at a company to make courses. Now it absolutely is a full-time job, but at the time I was blown away. So being at Shopify is a dream come true, to be honest. It is like one of the most amazing Canadian success story companies. I'm making courses with world-class e-commerce experts. And basically right now I'm building a course marketplace where we're teaching course creators how to make the course and they're putting it on our platform. Versus when I first started, it was more, we were flying people into Shopify, creating the entire course for them, or like it was their knowledge, but we were helping them like write the scripts and build the course. And now it's kind of like teaching them how to do it. Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's an interesting shift. But it's a very successful endeavor. So I need more help. I'm like, hey, I know I've been doing well as like the sole course producer, but can I get a second person now? Like, working at the intersection of e-commerce and e-learning, it's been a busy year. It has been a busy year. So, it's good. That's the bottom line, I think.
Yeah, very cool. Over the years, you've probably dabbled in all the different LMS learning management systems. Can we talk about that? Tell me, I'm sure you've had experience with ClickFunnels and Kajabi is the newest one. I know that you're a fan of that and you recently were part of some major training. I think it was a webinar and major trainings around Kajabi. Anyways, tell us about your favorite platforms and what you would recommend for people who are just starting out.
Yes. Okay. I really love this question. And also I'm like platform agnostic. I'm not trying to push my affiliate link at this time, maybe in the future, but not now. So I just have to share with everyone that just as a quick backstory, I went to a Las Vegas conference called DevLearn, one of the biggest e-learning conferences. And there was a session on how to choose your learning management system. And I found out at that session, there's over 1,000 learning management systems. And it's actually a full-time job for people to actually help companies choose their learning management system. So the fact that people are overwhelmed and not sure which one to choose is totally normal. So basically, I've been trying to narrow down for the people I work with, which ones seem to be working really well and ones that I've tested. And so Kajabi, I gotta say, is kind of winning my heart right now. I recently talked to their CMO. His name's Orlando. He's like a superstar CMO with like an e-commerce store. And I'm like, what's the deal with Kajabi? Why should I send people to you? And he's of course saying it's the all-in-one, platform to sell and market your course. But what I really appreciated from that call is that I asked him, who are your favorite people on the platform? Who are you most excited about? And he was basically saying the unsung heroes. He wasn't saying celebrities and big people. He was saying like regular humans who made it big. And I love that. And he seems like he's really for the underdog kind of guy. I also got to give a huge shout out to Thinkific though, Canadian company, absolutely killing it. I know like most of Greg, their CEO, and a few of their team members who are just superstar awesome people as well. And what's different about Thinkific is they're really focused on the actual course. Like if you want to do a great course, Thinkific is obsessed with the course. They're kind of taking a Shopify approach where you have a great product of just like building a course, and then you will piece it together with a sales page. Actually, they do have sales pages, but like email marketing is something that you do with a different email marketing client. So they're great. I love Teachable just because they actually got acquired too. So they're going through a rebrand. I've built a bunch of courses on Teachable. And what's the other one? Oh yeah, Podia. So if you want to do memberships, workbook downloads, you have kind of a whole world of e-learning you want to do. Podia is really great. And I feel like they have really like modern UX. I think they're really like easy to use and they look good. That's also a big thing. I could keep going. I should probably take a breath.
Those are great. Those are great platforms to put out there. And we're using Kajabi right now. And we're really loving it because it's intuitive. It's kind of like the Mac, Mac versus PC. It's the Mac of the LMS systems. And we're still hacking it. We're still figuring things out. And I feel like you do have to understand what works best for your product and what you're putting out there because, like you said, some of these LMS systems are really focused on on the course itself without the rest of the clutter. So it really depends what your ultimate goal is when you are putting your product out in the world. So that's really great.
A good point. That's literally actually, before even, because it can get overwhelming when you hear all these different learning management systems. But it's so important to decide on your needs. What do you actually need? And your budget, some Kajabi's on the more expensive side because it is the all-in-one system. But something I also am really interested in when I recommend a learning management system to someone is, do you see yourself reflected in their testimonials, in their marketing? Do they value you, depending on your age, your background, your race? Are you seeing, success stories? Do they care about you? So that's also something that is really important. And then also just customer reviews. I'm big on asking around. Mm-hmm. And of course, no learning management system is perfect. Not one person I've ever referred to a learning management system, they're like, this was so perfect. It was so easy. No, there's challenges with all of them. So just know that too. You're not alone if you're struggling with some of the tech stuff.
Yeah, and there's a reason why people don't necessarily just go into one platform. They have like a toolkit that they use for different processes of their business. And I have to say, what I loved about what you just said is that you talked about the people behind the brand. A lot of the times when we ask this, tool question is that they'll say, well, it's good for X, Y, and Z. But I love your perspective of actually going behind the brand and talking about what matters to them, like their CMO, what does he stand for, and supporting those platforms is what's important. So thank you for sharing that with us. So going forward, our audience is very much people who, again, made a pivot and are just starting out. You said that you like to work with people who are credible and have, some sort of expertise in what they're doing. So obviously those people come with an audience on some level, right? Like they've been doing it for you. It's a little bit easier when you have an audience and you can then transition into creating a program specific for your audience. But for people who are just starting out completely at zero, but really feel like they have some value to provide, where would you have them start?
Is this new person ready to like create a course? They're like, I just want to go. Give me an example. Give me a story. Let's create a person. Let's create a story, and let's help this fake person crush it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we have Lindsay. Okay, Lindsay is a holistic nutritionist. I'm literally like pulling this out of my So she's a holistic nutritionist, and she's been helping like friends and family here and there, but like not really working one-on-one with clients yet. And, the pandemic happened. She can't see people face to face. She needs to make ends meet. And she has been following Lori Kennedy for a really long time and now has finally, got her guts to do something. Where should she start?
Okay, so, well, funny because I watched Lori's interview and Lori was saying Does she have a certification? Can she truly teach this credibly? But say, you know, the truth is no one was born with a certification. We're all learning, we're all evolving our personal brands, our lifestyles, our identity. So go, Lindsay, go. Okay.
I love what you're saying, because I just want to interrupt you really quick.
Yeah.
It's so funny. There's like that two perspectives in this industry. You know, Danielle Leslie, she's like, you don't need a effing certification. Like if you're 3 steps ahead of X, you can help that person. And then you have the Lori Kennedy, who's like, you need certification because it's a liability thing, right? So just do you, boo, right? Like it's like go forth and prosper. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. I have to say that.
No, I mean, this is why people get stuck, is because 2 very successful people are telling you 2 very different things. And you're just, the split energy completely stops you. So I think, and sadly, I kind of agree with both of, like, they both have great points.
For sure, for sure.
Because, you know, if Lindsay can help me, what's Lindsay especially? What can she do for me? Like, what would be the results that Lindsay could maybe get for me?
She helps people get better sleep.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. She'll probably say, Gwen, stop drinking so much coffee.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, Lindsay, it's been nice to know you, but you're not for me.
How can I get better sleep while drinking coffee? There we go.
Okay, the truth is about coffee is we probably shouldn't be drinking it as much as we do.
Yeah.
It's literally a burnt bean. Okay, this is not what we're talking about. So say, you know, I don't know if there is even a certification for this, but I love that. People want this. I mean, Ariana Huffington actually wrote a book on how to get better sleep, and I'm pretty sure she's not certified in how to do that. So what I would recommend to Lindsay is to use the food truck method. Now, what is the food truck method? Okay. So dramatic. Okay, what the food truck method is to me is that you have a product and you want to test it in the least expensive way possible. You want to get your product out to the locals. You want the people in your sphere of influence to test out the product, give you feedback on the product, and then drive to another area and test it out and not spend a lot of money. For example, if you bought a restaurant, AKA you are making a full course, you do not want to get the real estate. You do not want to, you know, invest so much money to do this before you know people love your product. So I would tell Lindsay to do some live workshops and do some live training and do a ton of customer research to truly figure out who she wants to help. That's also something people don't necessarily talk about, is you get to choose your customer. So if Lindsay wants to help, you know, recent college grads, that's great. However, I would tell Lindsay that she should probably focus on, you know, women in their 50s who are retired, who money is no object, to help them versus recent college grads. So really trying to figure out the niche that actually has money to invest in your services.
Ooh, I love that so much. Yeah. The food truck analogy is so great. I mean, I was thinking about like, yeah, you have like 5 or 6 different items, give them a little taste, get their feedback, see if the ingredients work, if they fit. And then you can, you know, hither and prosper.
That's what I thought when you said it too. I was just like, I've got a burger. Everybody come. Like, it's a food truck. Not this street. Okay, next street. You know?
I mean, the analogy can go so far too, because you want to get that signature product that people love, that they come to you for it. But then, yeah, maybe you want to test out like fries with, well, she probably wouldn't have fries. She'd probably have like green smoothies with, you know, you want to add, what's something fancy you could add to it? Hemp hearts? Is that, yeah, spirulina. That's what I was actually trying to think of. And I was like, seaweed is not the word. Yeah. And I mean, the idea too, when you're first starting, is do not spend a ton of money to figure this out. So actually a service that I am obsessed with recently is Samcart. I had such a tremendous experience working with the Samcart team when I was doing my own online program, because I didn't want to invest in, you know, a fancy sales page when I was first running my online program. I made it all myself, and the Samcart team was super helpful. So yeah, that's a great tool to use. Also, something that I think will be very helpful for people. So last year I went to Marie Forleo's live book tour, and there was an AMA or a Q&A section, and I like ran to the microphone because I had to know how. So for context, if anyone doesn't know Marie Forleo, she has been in business for 17 or something years.
Mm-hmm.
She said on stage 50,000 spaces in B School, her premium online training program, which she charges $2,000 for. So if my math is correct, did she make $100 million on this course? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is wild. And so I had to go ask her, Marie, what's your number one tip for marketing? And she said, what do you actually think she said?
Oh,
way to put us on the spot. I'm like, get into Marie Forleo's head. Like, I'm going to say, and I'm just making an assumption here based on Marie Forleo and her style, but it's put out like amazing, valuable, free content.
Oh man. Yeah. Like connecting with your audience. That's
all right.
I need to hear it. I can't even think because I'm going on a whirlwind.
To our seat.
She said storytelling.
Oh, of course she did. We knew that.
Now, what do you both do very well?
Storytelling.
Oh, this is everything that we literally talk about storytelling all the time. But it's such an amazing reminder, Gwen, because we keep on getting stuck in this whole, let's provide information. And we sometimes forget about the storytelling part. And I keep on, and then Natalie and I will have offline conversations where I'm like, the time that we did this and how, we went through this. And she's like, this is brilliant. We need to like use this. And then we forget it again. But thank you for grounding us again and bringing that to the forefront. It is so important. Storytelling, folks, storytelling.
Write it down.
Yeah. Note to self, storytelling. And even on your sales page for your course right now, it's like, how could you, and storytelling is testimonials. It's funny too. You don't even necessarily, you can help people craft a story with a testimonial, but sometimes even just a raw, like iPhone video of someone sharing their experience with you is even more powerful than a super, fancy kind of produced story. Mm-hmm. So anyone right now, if you're new in the space, if you can get some stories from your customers, aka testimonials, that's what I want to see the results. Like what I think that's also a place where people get stuck. And most people that come to me, one of their like learning objectives they say is they want people to feel more confident. I don't know why, lately it's a theme, but the truth is, do you actually want to feel confident, or do you want the thing that confidence will bring you? And so just trying to like really ground what you're teaching in real world results, because even in the course world, people don't actually want a course. They don't want a course. They actually want more time with their kids. So yeah, like who cares? It's a course, but it's fulfilling and fun to like be teaching people things. But yeah, there's something else deeper behind, even why they'd want to work with your team, with you. Like why do you think they really want to work with you? Like really kind of brainstorm on that.
Yeah. There's so much I want to unpack in everything that you just said. I kind of want to start with, what you just ended with. And it's like, figuring out why it is that people might want to work with you. And a lot of the times it's something that we don't even know about us that people relate to. Mm-hmm. And it goes into this idea of like being vulnerable. And I was listening to a podcast that Yasmin actually shared with me about content. And they were talking about how, now everyone's saying like, be vulnerable with your content because that's how people connect to you. But being vulnerable doesn't necessarily mean like share that really like victimizing story of what happened between you and like your friend. It's like being vulnerable in the space of the value that you want to provide. And that's what you just touched upon as well, right? Is that, you know, tell those stories that still relate to the value, right? Like the testimonials. And I'm ranting on it a little bit here because there's so much amazingness that, you know, what you just said, but where I'm going with this is that's the shift that Yasmin and I had. You know, we produced a course without understanding our demographic or where we wanted it to be or what it was all about. We just gave value. And now we're reverse engineering that a little bit, where we're actually working one-on-one with people in a video boot camp where we're helping them create their own videos. And we're really learning people's pain points and how we can help. And I think that that's similar to what you said for anyone who's just starting out, is that it's just like work with people to understand where you can help them. So yeah, that was like the shift we needed to get in this space, is that it's like, you don't create first, you learn first, almost like you learn from your people first. And yeah, vulnerability, that's like a big one too, right? Like it's just like figuring out what it means to be vulnerable in the space of giving value, right? Because the people that connect to you are not necessarily connecting to you because of that story you shared about when you were a kid, you know? So it's like understanding why people connect to you, because those are the people who are going to invest in you.
I mean, it's so hard because you never really know what's going to connect with someone. So I think at the end of the day, you just have to trust your own internal compass of what feels good to share and when it feels like the right time. Because like I was very not comfortable sharing about like being in debt when it was like during the time or just directly after. Now it feels like I'm excited to share about it because it's something that I accomplished or and know it can be helpful for people. So if you're about to like press post on an Instagram post and you're like, I feel like I'm gonna puke, I might not do it. Really, I think we gotta trust. We're told by society like don't listen to your feelings at all. I really think we got to go back to truly listening to how we're feeling. That's gonna be the way, even in marketing. For a lot of the course creators I work with, they're like, hey Gwen, what do I do? I'm like, what is your intuition telling you to do? And we're taking it step by step based on their intuition and their knowledge and what they're hoping. You know, it's not like me being like, this is the 5-step process. Just on a slight tangent, I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Walker's product launch formula. He's kind of one of the creators of this industry, the way people market. He's sold over $1 billion in courses. He's worked with like the Tony Robbins and Brendan Burchards of the world. He is kind of like one of the reasons why people feel like there's a certain way they have to do it, because his way has worked so well. But it's also a new age of marketing. There's new tools, there's new ways to connect with people. So truly like trust your gut more than like an expert on the internet on following a certain formula.
And keep iterating, keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so difficult. I mean, even with our podcast, I have to say to our listeners, like there's such a wealth of information in each episode, and there's some amazing wisdom bombs, but everybody has their own style too. So even with us and the information that we're sharing, this is information for you to learn from, but it doesn't mean that if one week somebody says one thing and then the next week somebody has a different idea that you completely need to shift and restart and overthink that, oh gosh, everything I'm doing is just like garbage now and I need to start. No, that is not the way. It's all about finding your path and your way of doing things. And like Natalie just said too, reiterating or iterating over and over again until it sticks.
Yeah, I think it was Amy Porterfield who said, I don't know if it was Amy Porterfield or you or Marie Foley. Yeah, I'm like getting you in that bubble there. But if you have like more than 3 mentors, it's too many. Was it? Something like that.
That was not me, but cool.
Yeah. Someone said it, but it really stuck with me because like, especially as we were creating this podcast, like we have so many amazing people come on, and after each episode, we're like, that's a great idea. We should do that. And then it's like, wait, that worked for them and they're amazing, but we can't just rejig every single time we talk to somebody, you know?
You can. No, I'm kind of joking, but it's funny in this course world. I like the idea that you can't get it wrong and you'll never get it done. Your course is never done. You can't get it wrong. You can keep evolving. And I was talking to someone yesterday who I'm helping make a course, and from 1 week like to the next, his whole course completely changed, because he is at a new level mentally. He's learned more about the industry. He was originally going to be doing a course for like, you know, very uncomfortable, charging even a few $100s to like, I talked to him yesterday and he's like, all right, I'm ready to do like a premium price course. He's got a new name. He's got a new vibe. I'm like, what happened to you? Like, you're a new person. And, you know, so I think being able to be flexible and just see what resonates with you. If something feels like a hell yes moment, like I think Derek Sivers, author, TEDx man, hell yes or no. If something's really speaking to you, it's like, okay, this is, I should really try this. If it's like, like maybe just Facebook ads are not exciting to you right now, later.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about how much you show up for your audience, because showing up is a huge part of everything that we're doing. Obviously, online course creation, everything is online, folks. So yes, your course is online, but you are also online and you need to show up for your audience online. So for people who are afraid of getting on Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, and getting their faces out there, we already shared the tip. Share stories. That's the easiest way that you can make it easier for you to have that confidence to just tell your story, share and relate. But tell us about how much we should be showing up.
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, I got to direct everyone over to Jam Gamble.
Yes.
She is the one you want to learn from on this topic. And she has a course and she has a lot of free resources. But actually, this is a pretty interesting question because my opinion has changed. So again, going to who is your target audience? So I have realized lately that my target audience is actually book publishers, agents, and they don't actually follow me or care that I'm on Instagram so much. Like the people I'm trying to work with, I'm never going to get to them through Instagram. They have millions of followers. They wouldn't even know who I am, but I can get to them through their agent. So I'm actually really focused on being really good on email. But you know, you gotta put yourself out there a little bit. I honestly recommend like following someone like Jam. She's so free. She's just having a great time. And that's how I would want to show up, because that's kind of the kind of vibe, tropical course creator vibe I want to embody. But I think what's really interesting is finding the medium that works for you. I also know someone who is just terrified of going on camera. It feels so awkward. And that's totally cool. Why do you have to do it? If you hate it and you're really good at, say, writing emails or, you know, just posting photos, do you have to do it? I don't know. Also,
but we're the video ladies. So.
You're absolutely right. I know I'm talking to the wrong crowd here, but someone like, say, Danielle Leslie, she's not on Instagram telling us what she's eating. She's, from what I understand from people I know that know her, she is not, she's using Instagram, like she's owning her relationship with Instagram versus Instagram owning her. So she's using it and she's paying for ads. She's putting herself out there, but she's not necessarily responding to every DM and like, you know, always sharing. I love that. I need to get on her level because I'm taking a bit of an Instagram break because I couldn't keep up with responding to people. And I'm like, I just got to get into the work. So anyway, I'll send people to you if they want to show up brilliantly on camera, actually.
Love it. I think you made a really important distinction there between like not being owned by Instagram, but owning it. And that's something that we struggle with also because, you know, where we specialize is helping people feel better on like to go and do camera, but we're not telling people to show up on Instagram every single day because we don't even show up on Instagram every single day. I'm sorry, the people who do deserve a medal. Like I just can't even go there. It's just a lot. And I think Jam does show up every single day, which is
yeah. She's amazing.
I know.
I think it's about knowing your just zone of genius. Like, I think she gets so much energy from it versus if it's pulling your energy to do it every day, like, don't do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that you don't just do things that align with your energy. I love that. Love it. Love, love, love. All right. Well, we are getting to the end of our time with you. Yasmin, do you have any more questions before I ask the last burning question?
No, we can go on for a long time here. So I think
we could talk forever.
Yeah.
And we need to have you back for sure. So we'll be bugging you about that, not on Instagram.
As soon as I have my first like 7-figure course, I'd love to kind of share how that happened, because it's about to happen. Yes, just in the last few, some of the people that, I don't know what's happening. Something's happening. The people coming in are like ready to do some big stuff. So
amazing.
Happy to help them do it.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes. We'll definitely have you back once that happens. So stay tuned for that, folks. But we always ask, and you know, because you've listened to the podcast, we always ask if there's one last wisdom bomb that you could share with our audience, what would it be?
Make peace with where you are. Wherever you are right now is absolutely perfect. You are not behind. Just, we're here today, exactly where we are. Breathe it in.
Love it. Yep. That's definitely in line with my wisdom bomb.
Love it. Well, Gwen, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you and so amazing to catch up. We need to do more of this. For our audience, where can they find you?
Yes. So I would say go to gwenelliot.ca or .com. And probably the thing that will help you is the online course producer toolkit that I put together at the start of the pandemic, where just kind of like a brain dump of how I would approach creating a course. So yeah, check that out. I'm on the internet. Follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. I say LinkedIn because that's where my main people are these days, and email. So I look forward to seeing you on the internet, everyone.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you, Gwen. That's a wrap on another episode of the Course Creation Podcast. Thank you for tuning in and being a champion of ours. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit subscribe and find us on Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. We really want to hear from you. And we're going to be digging through reviews for our next guest to feature. So if you're interested in being a guest, then you know what to do. Also, join our private Facebook community called the Course Creation Crew to connect with other course creators. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at coursecreation.com. That is all. We appreciate you all so much and look forward to having you here next time.